Good morning and welcome to Cincy Lifestyle. Glad you joined us this morning. Mona, how's your morning going?
It is going just great. You know what, Clyde? I owe you one for that. He knows that my morning was from something I ate last night. Yes, I can just tell you, do pay attention to the expiration date on a box of liquid eggs. That's all I gotta say. Just do pay attention.
It sounds like you're having an exciting start to the day.
Very much so, Clyde.
Well, guess what's coming up this weekend, Mona?
What's coming up, Clyde?
Father's Day. Da-da-da.
Ooh.
So, of course, we're doing our civic duty to come up with a few gift ideas for Dad coming up for Father's Day. So we got a couple we're going to show you. One's a defrosting tray, and it means that you don't have to microwave the meat or leave it out for like 12.5 hours so that you don't end up like Mona or anything like that. This is from thegrommet.com. One who loves a good piece of steak. I like that. I like that. So if anybody's listening. The other
It's a good idea.
Yeah, the other one is portable cold brew, a portable cold brew coffee maker, which kind of streamlines the process and allows you to get it done more quickly so that you can carry it with you. It's portable. It's in a double wall container, copper insulated carafe. Easy for me to say, right? So, just a couple of
Both
ideas.
of those sound like great gifts. Yeah, they sound like great gifts.
Yeah, they do. Well, we're going to talk to you now for a little bit about a Juneteenth celebration that is big goings on in Cincinnati. You've heard probably a lot about Juneteenth lately in the headlines. It is June 19th, that's tomorrow, and that is in observance of the day slaves in Texas found out that slavery and the Civil War were over. This year, Cincinnati will again observe Juneteenth. But because of the pandemic, that other big item in the news, that celebration this year is going to be a little different. And right now, here to talk with us about it is Lydia Morgan, the Juneteenth Cincinnati Festival coordinator. She's been coordinating. Lydia, you've been coordinating this for a good long time, so thank you for talking to us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's dive in and find out what's going to look different this year. Tell us a little bit about the decision to move it online. What does that mean for Juneteenth?
Well, what that means is that we called all of the people who had agreed to perform this year and asked them to send us video of them performing since we weren't going to be having it live in the park. And they did, and then we got to work with technicians and everything and put together two concerts. One was the Juneteenth Festival, and the other one is the Father's Day concert. The Juneteenth Festival will be playing on Friday and Saturday, because actual Juneteenth date is Friday the 19th. And then the Father's Day concert, of course, will be playing on Sunday.
Now, Lydia, you've still got stuff for people to do because let's face it, when you have it in the park, there is a lot to see, a lot to hear, a lot to smell, and a lot to taste. But you are still making it possible for people who are viewing it online to participate safely at home, right?
Yes, there are a couple of ways. One, we are having an in-person flag raising ceremony the 19th at 10 o'clock. At City Hall, and but we are all wearing our face masks, and we are also observing the social distancing. So all of that will be going on. But in addition to that, we have what we're calling Juneteenth Good Eats. And what's happened is I've contacted friends of mine who are living in Texas and who celebrate Juneteenth there, and I asked them to give me a list of the kinds of foods that they would be eating at their Juneteenth celebrations in Texas. So they did. We put together a list, and I've been sending out recipes from that list, and and people have been trying the recipes so we can get some of the smells and the taste anyway.
Oh, that's
And then,
great. That's great.
Yeah, Friday morning, they'll get the whole list, and hopefully they will prepare a Juneteenth meal to eat while they are watching the Juneteenth Festival.
Sure. Okay, so let's get people there so that they can watch the festival. How can people connect and take part in that festival?
Okay, they can watch the festival on Vimeo and YouTube, and also on several of the local access channels.
Okay.
Cincinnati Cable, ICRC, Waycross, Dayton TV, TBNK, and Camel County Media are all showing it, and most of them are showing it around 7 o'clock, starting Friday at 7 o'clock and Saturday at 7 o'clock, and then on Sunday
Okay.
also at 7 o'clock.
Okay, perfect, Lydia. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
All Known as a major form of musical expression, jazz has been part of the American music scene since the late 19th century. But believe it or not, there was a time when Cincinnatians tried to make this style of music against the law. And that story is part of an all-new edition of Cincinnati Curiosities. Cincinnati put jazz on trial in 1921. The perpetrator, Avondale's Toadstool Inn, and the legal question, is jazz music or is it a nuisance? The Toadstool Inn was a nightclub on Reading Road near the intersection with residential Hutchins Avenue. The inn got its name from those concrete tables and stools shaped much like mushrooms that surrounded an outdoor dance floor in the backyard. Well, in 1921, with Prohibition in full effect, the club was managed under lease by Daisy Merchant. She needed a gimmick to bring in the crowds and found it in hot jazz. The tenants of nearby apartment buildings, well, they were not happy to have hot jazz pumped into their bedrooms at all hours of the night, every night of the week, including Sundays. City regulations allowed music that late, but the neighbors, led by Henry and Henrietta Helwitz, filed a lawsuit on the basis that jazz is not music. The case came to trial in Judge Stanley Rettinger's courtroom in the middle of July 1921, and Judge Rettinger agreed it was jazz and not the Toadstool Inn itself that was on trial. The judge himself reported that he had visited the Toadstool Inn and found it to be a, quote, perfectly proper resort. Witnesses for the plaintiffs testified that jazz is like a tomcat howling. Jazz is a terrible noise, and jazz is a conglomeration of sounds. The plaintiffs even brought in an expert witness, Modesto Alou, director of the Cincinnati Zoo Orchestra. Maestro Alou told the court that jazz is a pain, appealed to primitive instincts, and if it were up to him, should be given the death penalty. Despite the protestations of the defense, who argued that jazz was performed in parks throughout the city and that the finest citizens in town enjoyed jazz at the Toadstool Inn, jazz lost. Judge Rettinger never actually ruled that jazz was music, but he did agree that sounds emanating from the Toadstool Inn, whatever they were, must henceforth cease at 10:30 p.m. While jazz lost in court, the Toadstool Inn, well, it remained a hangout for Cincinnati aficionados. A colorful gent named Albert Toots Marshall took over the lease and kept the joint jumping. For a time, a hot band led by future star Bernie Cummins ruled the dance floor. Then Frida Sanker assumed management and headlined her own band. Harry Spindler and his novelty orchestra wowed them, and before he gained fame in Al Capone's Chicago speakeasies, Wild Bill Davison honed his chops at the Toadstool Inn. Almost all later Cincinnati jazz clubs trace back to the quirky Avondale venue with the Toadstool seats. And right now, I want to welcome the man who curates the Curiosities, the one, the only, Greg Hand. Greg, thank you for being here a little bit. So, Toots Marshall, is he really as interesting a character as his name suggests?
Absolutely. You know, in Cincinnati, we've got so many amazing folks in our history, and Toots is just over the top. The guy ran the Toadstool Inn for a little bit, got busted there for bootlegging. He started the Castle Farm, which for the longest time was like the biggest nightclub in Cincinnati. All the big acts did did Castle Farm, where he got busted for bootlegging as well. But he was a World War I pilot and participated in some of the earliest rocket sled experiments.
Wow, really?
Indeed. So yeah, quite an interesting guy.
No doubt.
All right, so how exactly rowdy was his hot jazz?
You know, this is amazing because it is Cincinnati after all. The Wild Bill Davison, who was one of the folks who got their start there, had a long career, and he was kind of an Al Hurt type of guy. So if they actually had recordings from what was going on at the Toadstool Inn back in the 20s, you'd probably call it Dixieland jazz.
Okay,
So,
all right.
so it was kind of conventional, sort of Dixieland, but at the time this was rowdy stuff, and my goodness, those wayward children were doing the Charleston
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
and the black bottom, and so
Society
it was
was-
considered very,
Society was falling apart.
yes.
So what ultimately happened to the Toadstool Inn
You know,
itself?
I would love to see any kind of recording of how this was actually demolished, because you know, if you've seen the photos of this thing, it's called the Toadstool Inn because of these concrete stools that were placed around these concrete tables. It must have taken the Army Corps of Engineers to dismantle this place. But eventually it was all dismantled, and for a while the building, the inside building, operated as a collection of shops, sort of an arcade. But then it was replaced by an apartment building. Now, the interesting thing, I grew up in the wilds of Dent. And out in Dent, there was a bar called the Flicker Inn.
Yes.
Flicker Inn.
The
Getting some
Dentonians that
amens,
we
right.
have here recognize that.
The Flicker Inn. Apparently, somebody took the name, and before the Flicker Inn got its name from the Flick family, they operated that bar as a continuation of the Toadstool Inn out in my old stomping grounds.
Right quick, before we get away, how can people read more of your work?
Google Cincinnati Curiosities, and it's hando.tumblr.com.
Okay.
All right, Greg, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
This was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, Greg.
Well, we'll be back with more Cincy Lifestyle on the other side of the break. Plus, have you checked us out on Instagram? You know, we post all kinds of behind-the-scenes pictures from right here on the set and while we are safely out in the community. So follow us on Instagram at Cincy Lifestyle.
Quick look outside. If you're out and about today, humidity's building back in. Some of you might see some showers of some kind or the other, so be advised. Now,
That's right, Clyde.
Yep.
Go ahead, Clyde. You read it.
Okay, my turn. Coming up tomorrow here on Cincy Lifestyle, it's a party for a cause. People Working Cooperatively is holding its annual Tool Belt Ball, but it's going to look a little bit different this year. We'll tell you about the ball's new look and how it helps people in our community.
You know, that's always a fun event. Plus, we celebrate the heroes at home. Stay-at-home fathers, that's right. We'll talk to a local group that's seeking to debunk some of the stereotypes and prove that dads really can do it all.
Hear,
We've
hear.
got all that, so much more happening tomorrow right here on Cincy Lifestyle. It's true for you, Clyde. You can do it all.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it, Mona. Absolutely. You hang in there. Hold on tight.
I will. And that's it for Cincy Lifestyle for June 18th. You know what? Remember, we love when you reach out to us. We love hearing from you. So look at all the ways right there on the screen. Give us a call. You know, you can email us, Facebook. We love that too. And you know what? If you're not having a great day, you make it a great day.
Thanks for watching our video. If you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button. You can also check out full episodes of the show you've never seen before or watch your favorites again and again. And as always, make it a great day.